The NFL better brace itself because a storm is quietly brewing in Cleveland, and it isn't coming from the names everyone's expecting. Forget the familiar narratives, the veteran grit of Joe Flacco, the hype around rookie Dillon Gabriel. There's someone else lurking in the shadows, quietly rewriting the rules of what it means to be a quarterback. His name is Shedeur Sanders, and if you haven't been paying attention, now is the moment you need to start. Because this isn't just another story of a sleeper player rising. This is the kind of quiet, calculated takeover that makes franchises reconsider everything they thought they knew. It started in a place that most fans would dismiss, a routine training camp net drill. Not flashy, not televised for primetime. Just a simple exercise designed to test precision, timing, and mechanics. Flacco, the seasoned veteran, goes through his reps. Solid? Yes, but off target. Gabriel, the touted rookie, struggles with timing and placement. Then it's Sanders' turn. One crisp spiral. Perfectly timed, perfectly placed. Dead center. No luck, no adjustment. Just pure, unadulterated accuracy that would make any coach pause mid-breath. And yet, in the official recap, the mention is fleeting, a quick note. Stripped of his name, stripped of significance. But fans saw it. One slow-motion clip filmed from the stands, shared online with a simple caption, "Wait, was that Shedeur?" And within hours, the quiet storm erupted. Why is no one talking about this? Why is the NFL media turning a blind eye to a quarterback who just outperformed both the starter and the top draft pick in clean reps? That question alone has fans buzzing and forums exploding. Sanders isn't just showing up, he's showing out, quietly turning heads while the rest of the league sticks to its script of veteran redemption arcs and rookie potential. And here's the thing, it isn't a one-off. This is consistency. Every dropback, every release, every throw radiates precision and calm. Footwork so polished it looks sculpted. Spirals landing exactly where they need to be every single time. This isn't hope. This isn't hype. This is proof. And yet, the silence persists. The depth chart lists him as QB3, a label designed to keep expectations low, a narrative placeholder for a player still developing. But labels lie. Sanders' energy in the quarterback room, his composure under pressure, the respect he commands without demanding it, these are traits you can't fake. The veterans notice it, the coaches notice it, the fans are noticing it too, and they're not staying quiet. Twitter threads are dissecting every throw, every dropback, every rep like it's a championship game. Q-bone energy, they call it. And that energy isn't just buzzwords, it's magnetic. So here's the warning, the underdog narrative has officially expired. Shedeur Sanders isn't quietly waiting his turn, he's quietly preparing to seize it. And when that happens, the NFL isn't going to have a choice but to acknowledge it. The quiet rise has begun, and it's about to get impossible to ignore. If you thought you knew the Cleveland Browns quarterback room, think again. Behind the headlines, behind the veteran name recognition and draft day hype, there's a force quietly asserting itself. Shedeur Sanders. Most eyes are glued to Flacco's veteran instincts or Gabriel's touted potential, but the real story has been hiding in plain sight. It started in a place that no highlight reel would ever capture, the mundane, often overlooked drills of training camp, the net drill. Simple, mechanical, unglamorous, drop back, aim, throw, but simplicity is deceptive. In those moments, true talent isn't measured by flash, it's measured by precision, by composure, by the ability to make the impossible look effortless. And Sanders did just that. Flacco goes through the reps. Solid, measured, professional, but misses the mark. Gabriel follows, raw and talented, but timing and accuracy are shaky, inconsistent. Then it's Sanders' turn. One drop back, one release. Spiral, dead center, perfect placement, no luck, no adjustment. Just pure execution. And the more you watch it, the more it becomes clear. This wasn't a fluke. This wasn't beginner's luck. This was the culmination of hours, weeks, years of silent preparation. Sanders had been quietly sharpening every aspect of his game while the world's attention was elsewhere. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The media barely noticed. A passing mention, stripped of weight, stripped of name recognition. Flacco gets the nod, Gabriel gets the hype, and Sanders? He's just another name on a clipboard. But fans noticed. One clip shared online, slowed down, zoomed in, and suddenly the narrative began to shift. Social media erupted. Questions started flying. How does a third-string rookie outperform both the starter and the highly touted rookie, yet remain invisible in the official story? The intrigue wasn't just about performance, it was about the mismatch between the reality on the field and the narrative off it. But what makes Sanders' rise so compelling isn't just the throws themselves, it's the methodical confidence behind them. Every dropback, every foot placement, every decision in the pocket radiates intelligence. He's not relying on arm strength alone. He's reading defenses, anticipating movements, threading the needle with the poise of a seasoned veteran. While others chase attention with flashy throws or dramatic gestures, Sanders lets his mechanics do the talking. And that quiet competence is magnetic. Players gravitate toward him. Coaches take notice. The locker room subtly shifts, even if the depth chart still says QB3. By the end of that first week of camp, the whispers had started. Sanders isn't just a player, they're realizing he's a revelation. And the brilliance of his hidden talent isn't just in the throws or the stats, it's in the timing, the subtlety, the quiet domination that doesn't need a headline to be effective. Flacco and Gabriel are noticing it. The fans are noticing it. And slowly, methodically, the NFL is about to notice it too. Here's the twist. While Sanders was quietly dominating in drills, the media acted like it never happened. It's almost as if the NFL's storytelling machinery refused to acknowledge him. Headlines focused on Flacco's steady veteran presence and Gabriel's rookie potential, while Sanders, throwing with precision that could rival any veteran, was barely a footnote. Few writers mentioned him, and those that did stripped his performance of context, as if acknowledging a third-string rookie outperforming the starter and a draft pick would somehow disrupt the league's carefully curated narratives. Fans noticed the silence immediately. Social media doesn't sleep, and within hours, one simple clip of Sanders' flawless spiral had gone viral. Zoomed in, slowed down, captioned, "Wait, is that Shedeur?" And suddenly, the narrative the media had tried to control began to crumble. People dissected every frame, every step, every release, every throw was analyzed with the scrutiny of a professional scout. The more they watched, the more obvious it became. Sanders was delivering, and the silence from traditional outlets wasn't because his performance wasn't news, it was inconvenient. Why inconvenient? Because the NFL loves stories it can package neatly. The veteran redemption arc? Flacco. The top draft pick rookie saga? Gabriel. But the third stringer quietly outclassing them both? That doesn't fit the script. That's messy. That's unpredictable. And yet, there he was, doing exactly that, in plain sight. The media blackout wasn't an accident. It was a symptom of a system that struggles with narratives it can't control. Fans weren't going to let it slide. Twitter threads exploded. Comment sections filled with breakdowns, slow-motion clips, and debates over depth chart injustices. The grassroots enthusiasm was undeniable. Why is this kid still QB3? It became a recurring question. The energy built not from hype, but from evidence. Sanders' calm precision, his unshakable poise, his ability to execute under pressure, it was impossible to ignore once the tape was in front of you. The blackout also created a sense of intrigue, a tension that only amplified the story. By underreporting Sanders, the media unintentionally set the stage for a dramatic reveal. Every overlooked rep became a small victory for those following closely. Every ignored throw added to the mystique. And in doing so, the fans became the story's amplifiers. They were the ones tracking his growth, building the narrative that the official channels refused to acknowledge. So, while the mainstream outlets kept repeating the safe, comfortable narratives, Sanders' reputation was quietly exploding. The silence was no longer an absence, it was a challenge. It begged the question, if the media won't acknowledge him, how long before fans force them to? And how long before the Browns themselves are forced to face what's been obvious all along? Because one thing is certain, you can try to bury talent, but when it performs like this, it refuses to stay hidden. What separates good quarterbacks from great ones isn't just the ability to throw far or make flashy plays. It's mechanics, poise, and the almost invisible timing that turns ordinary plays into perfection. And when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, that distinction isn't subtle, it's glaring. Every dropback he takes radiates control, precision, and intelligence. You watch him in the pocket and it's clear that he isn't just reacting. He's calculating, anticipating, orchestrating. This isn't rookie luck, this is mastery under construction. Take his footwork, for example. It's textbook. Every step measured, every pivot deliberate, every movement designed to maximize efficiency and balance. Flacco has years of experience, and Gabriel has raw athleticism, but Sanders moves like he's been trained by perfectionists, each drill ingrained until it becomes instinct. It's the kind of poise that separates a quarterback who can survive in the NFL from one who can dominate. And when you pair that with his arm mechanics fluid, consistent, effortless, you start to realize that the label QB3 doesn't even come close to describing what he brings to the field. Then there's his release. Crisp, clean, and surgical. Spirals that land exactly where they're intended. No luck, no hope throws into triple coverage. Every pass carries intent. It's quiet dominance, the kind that doesn't need dramatic gestures or media attention to make its mark. Sanders doesn't throw to show off. He throws to execute, to lead, to control. And the calmness he projects under pressure is contagious. It isn't flashy, but it commands respect. The other players notice it. The offensive line sinks. The receivers sharpen their roots. The pocket feels smaller for opponents because Sanders is expanding it with his presence. Decision-making? Exceptional. He reads defenses with a level of composure that makes you forget he's technically a rookie. Every motion, every alignment, every subtle shift in coverage is accounted for before he even drops back. And when the ball leaves his hand, it lands exactly where it needs to. That precision is what separates good from elite, and it's what has veteran quarterbacks and coaches taking notes quietly in the background. The poise Sanders carries isn't just physical, it's mental. Calm under pressure, unflustered by media silence, undeterred by his depth chart position. He doesn't need hype to validate him. His confidence is quiet, but magnetic. It spreads across the team. It affects the energy in the quarterback room. Players gravitate toward him instinctively. Leadership doesn't always shout it, sometimes whispers, and Sanders is the whisper everyone is starting to notice. So when you watch Sanders, it's more than just a perfect throw or a textbook step. It's the combination of mechanics, intelligence, and quiet authority that signals something bigger. This isn't a player who's learning. This is a player who's demonstrating day after day why he might be the Browns' most dangerous quarterback and why the league, whether it wants to admit it or not, should be paying attention. The quarterback room in Cleveland has always been a delicate ecosystem, a careful balance of veterans, rookies, and potential. But Sanders' rise is beginning to tip that balance, and the tension is almost tangible. Flacco, the seasoned veteran, is used to commanding respect by default. Gabriel, the top draft pick, carries the promise of future greatness. And then there's Sanders, quietly, methodically outperforming both, without a word, without theatrics. Suddenly, the hierarchy is being rewritten, and the entire team is feeling it. Depth charts are supposed to provide clarity. QBone, QB2, QB3. They tell you who to watch, who to trust, who's in line to lead. But what happens when the labels no longer match reality? Sanders is still technically the third-string quarterback, yet his play in practice and in controlled scrimmages is rewriting the story. Every perfect throw, every calculated read, every demonstration of poise becomes a challenge to the established order. It's one thing to beat expectations, it's another to quietly eclipse everyone in the room and force the coaches to face the uncomfortable truth. Perhaps the starter isn't the best option. And the veterans notice. Flacco sees the precision, the timing, the pocket command, and he knows something is shifting beneath him. He's played long enough to understand the signs, the quiet confidence that can't be faked, the way teammates naturally gravitate towards someone who doesn't demand attention, but earns it. Meanwhile, Gabriel, supposedly the heir apparent, watches quietly as the fan base begins to take notice of the player who wasn't supposed to matter. That slow recognition can be unsettling. It's not malice, it's reality crashing into the expectations everyone clings to. The drama doesn't stop with the players. Coaches and front office personnel are forced to confront a dilemma. Do they stick with the safe, predictable choice in Flacco? Do they double down on Gabriel to justify draft pedigree? Or do they acknowledge what's staring them in the face and give Sanders a real opportunity? Each option carries risk, and the longer they hesitate, the louder the whispers grow. Practices aren't just about reps, they're evidence. And Sanders is leaving a trail of undeniable evidence with every dropback. The tension becomes almost cinematic. You can feel it in the way teammates watch, the subtle glances exchanged, the measured reactions of veterans who know they can't ignore the shift for much longer. It's a chess game unfolding in real time, and Sanders is the silent, unstoppable pawn moving with purpose. Every throw, every read, every demonstration of mastery chips away at the pretense of the depth chart. The narrative the team thought it could control is fraying, and the suspense is only building. By the end of the scenario, the question isn't whether Sanders is talented, it's whether anyone in Cleveland is brave enough to acknowledge it. The QB3 label no longer fits. It's obsolete. Depth chart politics, draft day, hype, veteran tenure, all of it is suddenly irrelevant when confronted with undeniable skill, precision, and poise. And that drama, that tension, is exactly what makes Sanders' story so irresistible. Because in the NFL, when the third stringer starts acting like a starter, the ripple effects are explosive, and no one, not even the coaching staff, can remain indifferent for long. If there's one thing the NFL underestimates, it's the power of fans. Sanders' rise in Cleveland isn't happening in a vacuum. While the media ignores him and the depth chart tries to downplay him, the fans are noticing everything. Every throw, every drop back, every display of poise is being dissected, shared, and celebrated online. Social media has become the new scout room, and Sanders is quietly turning followers into analysts, building momentum that the team can't afford to ignore. It started with one clip, a perfect spiral, dead center, captured from the stands. But one clip quickly became hundreds. Fans slowed down footage, studied mechanics, and debated frame by frame. Twitter threads grew into digital war rooms. Comments and reactions spread like wildfire, all pointing to the same conclusion. Sanders isn't just performing, he's dominating quietly, methodically, and consistently. And unlike hype cycles manufactured by PR, this was organic. No flashy Instagram reels, no media soundbites, just performance, plain and undeniable. The energy wasn't just online. It spilled into the stadiums, the local fan base, and even the locker room. Cubone energy became the phrase du jour, describing Sanders' magnetic presence. He wasn't loud. He wasn't demanding attention. Yet, his confidence, precision, and calm authority made teammates gravitate toward him instinctively. Linemen held their blocks longer, receivers sharpened their routes, and the offense started moving differently whenever Sanders had the ball in his hands. It wasn't hype, it was influence. Leadership that doesn't shout, but quietly shifts the entire ecosystem around it. And the fans felt it. They weren't just cheering, they were mobilizing. Depth charts became points of debate, and Sanders was at the center of it all. Trade scenarios, starter predictions, and viral breakdowns filled social feeds. People who hadn't even realized Sanders existed 2 weeks ago were now tracking his every move, compiling evidence, and demanding recognition. The grassroots movement was unstoppable because it was built on proof, not conjecture. Sanders had shown them what the cameras and the headlines wouldn't. The fan movement also added a layer of pressure to the Browns' leadership. Social media and stadium energy have a real-world impact. When thousands of voices demand attention for a player, it forces coaches, executives, and even veteran players to acknowledge reality. Fans can't be silenced indefinitely, especially when their passion is backed by clear evidence of talent. And Sanders, intentionally or not, became the catalyst for this cultural shift. The narrative the organization wanted to control was slipping away, replaced by a groundswell of support that was impossible to ignore. By the time the first preseason games arrive, the energy surrounding Sanders isn't just background noise, it's a movement. The fans have taken ownership of his story, demanding that the team pay attention, that the media report honestly, that the player who has earned it finally gets his shot. And make no mistake, this isn't just popularity, it's accountability. The fans aren't just cheering. They're proving a point. Performance matters more than pedigree. Poise beats hype, and Shedeur Sanders isn't staying on the bench quietly anymore. The moment of truth is coming. In football, it doesn't matter how perfect you look in practice if you can't deliver when the lights are on. And for Shedeur Sanders, the stage is set. Picture week 1. Flacco under center. Steady but uninspiring. The offense is flat, timing off, energy lagging. Gabriel enters with flashes of potential, but mistakes creep in, hesitations multiply. And then, something happens. An injury, a bad half, a misstep. Suddenly, the headset buzzes and the call comes down. Sanders, you're in. This is the moment every quarterback dreams about, but Sanders isn't dreaming. He's prepared. Every rep, every net drill, every practice scenario has built toward this opportunity. And when he jogs onto the field, calm and collected, the narrative begins to shift instantly. It's not flashy. There's no exaggerated celebration or showboating. Just a quarterback commanding the moment with the quiet confidence that has been brewing for months behind the scenes. The first drive unfolds like a masterclass in composure. Snap, drop back. Quick read. 8-yard strike to a receiver cutting sharply across the field. The line holds, the routes sync perfectly, and the energy of the offense changes. Every player on the field starts to feel it, the subtle yet unmistakable shift that comes when the right quarterback is leading the team. It's not just a throw, it's influence, command, presence, and the fans notice instantly. They've been tracking Sanders for weeks, and now they finally get to see it in real time. By the second or third drive, the whispers turn into conversation. Plays that seemed routine with Flacco or shaky with Gabriel now flow effortlessly under Sanders' control. Every throw is intentional, every read calculated, every decision designed to maximize the offense's efficiency. And when he threads a touchdown pass through 2 defenders, the disbelief isn't just in the stands, it's on the broadcast, in the locker room, and across social media. People start asking the question that was already on everyone's mind: is this our guy now? The beauty of Sanders' potential breakout isn't just in the physical plays, it's in the psychological impact. Flacco and Gabriel see firsthand that the hierarchy they've taken for granted is shifting. Teammates realize that the player who was supposedly third string is now dictating the tempo and direction of the team. And fans, who have been quietly building his narrative online, now become an unstoppable force amplifying every moment. This breakout doesn't need fanfare. It doesn't need media hype or manufactured storylines. It's built on evidence, throws, decisions, poise, and leadership. And once it happens, there's no going back. The QB3 label evaporates. The debate about depth charts ends. Sanders has earned his moment, and the NFL, the Browns leadership, and fans alike must reckon with it. The potential isn't hypothetical anymore, it's reality. What makes Shedeur Sanders' rise even more compelling isn't just his skill on the field, it's his value off it. In today's NFL, talent alone isn't enough. Teams look for players who can carry a brand, who bring media attention, sponsorship potential, and fan engagement. Sanders has all of that, yet he doesn't flaunt it. He isn't a social media personality, he isn't chasing endorsements, and he doesn't need headlines to validate his presence. And that's exactly what makes him dangerous and valuable. He carries the pedigree, yes. The NFL knows the Sanders name, but he doesn't rest on it. He carries marketability not through staged promotions or forced interactions, but through proof, performance. Every throw, every calculated play, every display of poise draws attention because it's earned. Fans and analysts alike can't help but notice, share, and dissect his work. The engagement is organic, authentic, and growing at a pace that even marketing teams would envy. The combination of talent, poise, and brand potential is rare. Many players are flashy, but inconsistent. Some are disciplined, but unremarkable. Sanders balances production and presence, performance and marketability, in a way that makes the Browns' decision-makers sit up and take notice. He doesn't need to advertise himself, the field does it for him. The optics alone quietly outperforming both a veteran and a top draft pick, while staying calm under pressure create a narrative that brands and fans naturally gravitate toward. And it's not just about fans and endorsements. Marketability also carries real strategic value for the team. A player like Sanders can energize ticket sales, drive merchandise, and enhance the team's digital footprint. He becomes more than a quarterback, he becomes a movement. Teams rarely get the chance to combine elite talent with this level of public interest without spending years cultivating it. Sanders comes pre-packaged with credibility, performance, and a growing fan base that's already invested in his success. That makes him a rare commodity, one that has both on-field and off-field value that the Browns can't ignore. The subtlety is what makes it remarkable. Sanders doesn't oversell himself. No selfies with captions, no dramatic press conferences, no forced hype. He lets the tape do the talking. The fans amplify it. The media eventually catches on. And by the time it reaches full awareness, Sanders' value has multiplied. It's not vanity, it's leverage, built on the undeniable proof that he can perform when it matters most. In short, Sanders isn't just a promising quarterback, he's a complete package. The combination of production, leadership, and marketability makes him a rare find in the NFL. He's not just quietly outperforming expectations, he's quietly building influence, credibility, and value that extends far beyond the field. For the Browns, the choice isn't just about talent, it's about seizing a player who brings measurable returns in every dimension, on the scoreboard, in the locker room, and across the fan base. And for Sanders, the moment to capitalize on all of it is imminent. Recognition isn't always immediate. Sometimes it creeps in quietly, almost imperceptibly, until one day the world has no choice but to notice. That's exactly what's happening with Shedeur Sanders. For weeks, months even, his precision, poise, and calm dominance were quietly accumulating, each rep in practice a small declaration of his readiness. Fans saw it first, analysts dissected it second, and now, the broader NFL and media landscape are starting to pay attention. The irony is that the delay in recognition only amplifies the impact. Every overlooked drill, every underreported throw, every ignored clip has built suspense. It's the kind of narrative the NFL loves when it finally surfaces a quiet rise, an underdog finally recognized, a story that feels earned rather than manufactured. But in Sanders' case, it's not manufactured. It's proof. Every pass, every read, every decision on the field confirms what those following him already know. This is a quarterback capable of leading at the highest level. You can see it in the reactions of the people around him. Teammates start glancing toward him instinctively on third downs, trusting his judgment. Coaches can no longer dismiss the evidence because the proof is overwhelming. Flacco and Gabriel, veterans of the league themselves, have been forced to acknowledge it in subtle ways. A nod in the huddle, a slight adjustment of routes, a respectful acknowledgement of who is quietly controlling the tempo. The hierarchy of the quarterback room is shifting, and it's happening organically, without spectacle, without hype. The fan base, too, plays a critical role in Sanders' recognition. Social media, once his amplifier, has now become a mirror reflecting reality back to the league. Hashtags, viral clips, and discussions aren't just commentary, they're pressure. They show coaches, executives, and analysts alike that there is an undeniable momentum behind Sanders, one that transcends the usual hype cycles. Recognition, in this sense, is inevitable because the demand for it is growing louder every day. And when recognition finally arrives, it will be more than just a headline. It will be a confirmation of a trajectory already in motion. The QB3 label will crumble, the depth chart will realign. The league, fans, and media will collectively admit what Sanders has been demonstrating all along. Talent, poise, and leadership can't stay hidden forever. He has built momentum, earned trust, and established a presence so compelling that ignoring it is no longer possible. This isn't a story about hype, it's a story about inevitability. The evidence has been accumulating for months, and every subtle moment, each precise throw, each calculated read, each calm command pushes Sanders closer to the moment when the world finally has to acknowledge him. And when that happens, it won't feel like a surprise. It will feel like destiny. Shedeur Sanders' recognition is no longer a question of if, but when. The NFL, the media, and the fans are all on the same path toward one conclusion: he's arrived. If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us know you love this kind of content. And hey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your group chats, or anyone who loves football as much as you do. The more the conversation spreads, the better it gets. Most importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop fresh stories, wild rumors, or breaking updates that the mainstream media won't talk about.